So it's like, when's the best time to plant a tree? Well, 10 years ago. Next best time, get that sucker in the ground today, and just start moving in that direction.
Dude, what's up? Good to see you.
You too, brother.
I love your background. That's pretty legit right there.
Yeah, this is my virtual, not very virtual background. Kind of virtual, but not virtual.
It's amazing how real it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably walk back and pull a real book off that shelf and it would be so legit. So
Maybe even one you've given me.
maybe. Yeah. I mean, I've actually been in that room many times. So it's a legit like setup. So this like the hardest part of all these like home broadcasts is that there's like kids screaming and like yelling in all different parts of the house, right? So it's like, hey,
So true.
I have like a half hour of like non-craziness. Just that's all I'm asking for. So
Yeah, well, you and me both. Our lips to God's will.
okay, so let me give you a quick intro. Jesse, we've got a number of agents from our brokerage on this call. Super cool, and I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to be with us. So for those of you that don't know Jesse, just Google his name and it'll come back with some amazing stuff. Jesse's a rock star, realtor, broker, owner of a brand in San Diego, the Greenhouse Group. And how long have you been in real estate now? It's been a while, right?
Well, we got this one in escrow. Fingers crossed it close. It'll be our first one.
Whatever, dude.
So
whatever.
No, dude, we're clipped past the double decade mark there. So yeah, I'm a curmudgeon.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool. And for all these on the call, I mean, I've learned a ton of stuff. So, I mean, Jesse's been a great friend, an amazing mentor and guide, and someone I can bounce ideas off of. And we talk all the time. I mean, I throw out ideas off and most of the time he's like, I don't even know if that's legal. And then we'll just move on the conversation to something else. So, but Jess, I appreciate you taking time to be with us today. And the real discussion today is talking a little bit about video. And you've really embraced that. You've done some cool stuff with that. For those that are on the call right now, we've got different levels of engagement on video. We've got some people that the idea of being on video is like freaks them out. And they're like, I won't even like have my screen on right now. And they don't even want to see themselves on a video. And you have other people that like do some video stuff and other people that are fine doing a little bit, but there's always ways of improving. So maybe like share some insights that you had on your journey of video so far.
You know, and I think that the last thing in the world I want to do is talk at anyone, right? So I think a little bit of self-awareness and compassion for the group is a great place to kick it off. So if anybody has their little chat feature there available, you know, maybe let's just use an easy Likert scale, like, you know, 1 low, 5 high. Like 5 is, you know, Drussel running around as one of his fictitious characters in an accent, right? Like the highest level of video, you know, gamesmanship. 1 is like, is this camera on my phone record video, right? Just maybe chime in a little bit and just kind of get an idea, see if we can get an aggregate as to where the mean of the group is at, you know? So if you just want to use the chat feature there a little bit, there we go. Oh, wow. Allie went way over the top. Allie said, forget your 1 to 5, dude, I'm 8. Yeah, right? Heidi's dropping decimal points, 0.5, that's good. I love it. Yeah. -10, that's great. Nice work. Way to go, Linda. Which, by the way, I'm throwing the challenge flag, Linda, because you're on this right here, so impossible. Cool. Yeah, okay, good. That's good. So let's see, carry the 2, divide by 5, inverse ratio 8. Okay, there's a mean of about 3. Okay, good. So, you know, it's a good place, I think, to start just for context, because you know, the hardest part for me in just getting going on the video game was just the willingness to get past the pain threshold of even seeing myself afterwards in the first place. You know, there's this whole dialogue and rhetoric that I carried with me, like, who gives a you know what? Who wants to hear from me? What do I got to say? And I think that the spirit of that, it pulls all the way through in what we do, down to the core. Like a mutual friend of ours, of Aaron and I's, Todd Welsh, who, is literally like the mayor of his town in Salina, Kansas. Like this guy runs stuff and then invents stuff to run stuff. So, and we were just having a discussion this morning about it, and he was sitting there confiding me, being like, dude, like, well, what do I even talk about? I'm like, dude, you of all people, like you have so much to say and so much value to give to your tribe. Like, I don't even know what to do with that question, or that comment. And I think it just speaks to the point here, which is that, like, we've all got these internal dialogues. It's all just static chatter, wonk, 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 Charlie Brown teacher stuff. And the reality is that we're in the game. We're in the middle of the Coliseum, and we got to grab whatever weapons we got. And to stay relevant right now, we've got to be front stage. And if there's anybody that needs a little shot in the arm of how absolutely lucky and gifted we are, right? Like, back in the day when Aaron and I kicked this conversation off, I think I might be a little older than him. We had, these old video cameras that my buddies would have to carry around, and like shoot with the zoom and the deal and the high 8 video and stuff. And I mean, even before YouTube, the amount of money and effort and time and skill set it took to even get a crummy video up, compared to what we've got now, literally just inside one of these, and then the democratization of these platforms, like the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the IGTVs, the YouTubes, the fact that that stuff is free, and we have a entire media company with 8, 9, 10, 12, figure budgets, right? I just made that stat up because all stats are made up anyway, who are willing to just promulgate it for us, right? As long as we can create good stuff, they'll promulgate it for us, and the fact that we're sitting here still having a discussion inside of the real estate inside of our own 2 eardrums right now about, should I do a video or should I not? Like, speaking to the 1s to the 3s, it's nonsense, right? The other thing that's nonsense is the idea that that you're going to be good right out of the gate. You're not going to be good right out of the gate. No one's good out of the gate. It's not about being good out of the gate. Like, I suffer from the perfectionism game, like you wouldn't believe, and so it's a lifelong struggle for the whole public before perfect element, and the reality is that your first at bat is going to stink. My first at bat stunk. My at bats still today stink. But the difference is the body of work. How many at bats do you actually have? If anybody knows, who Gary Vaynerchuk is, he's kind of a thought leader in this category, in this space. And that guy's got so many at bats, no one is even a close second. And that's why his stuff's so good. That's why it's so valuable. That's why he's operating at the level that he is, where he could just go out and create a media company where big name brands are spending, 6, 7 figure budgets his way. It's just because he started at bats earlier than anyone else, and he's got more of them rallied up than anybody else. And so it's like, getting out of the mindset of it's about me. It's not about me. It's not about you, right? It's about the brand that you're trying to create, the conversation you're trying to have, so that it lands effectively in the attention, the eyeballs, and the eardrums of the people that you're trying to, pander to. You're trying to encourage and motivate and inspire. And it's not going to happen right away. So it's like, when's the best time to plant a tree? Well, 10 years ago. Next best time, get that sucker in the ground today, and just start moving in that direction. So that's my big, manifesto, I guess, to kick the party off. Aaron, where do you want to go with that?
Yeah, that's great. I think that's I think that's the challenge that a lot of people have, is they get in their own way.
Aaron, I'm sorry, Aaron, somebody may have, is Ted Kaczynski hanging out with you right now? Did he get a leave?
I haven't shaved since quarantine. So.
Okay.
Screw it out. Yeah, but I think that's like a key thing, right? I mean, I know that there are some amazing videos that I haven't created because I stopped, and I get to the place I'm like thinking about getting it back. I'm thinking about like doing it. I'm like, I don't know, and I hold off doing it, and then it just never gets done. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You want to talk about flexing the regret muscle, the regretter, the muscle of regret. we are all going to look back so fondly on, you know, this burgeoning brand new marketplace in this world, which is basically, you know, social media, which is basically just the internet. You know, like, get out of that idea that social media is this thing happening over on the side. Social media is the internet. It's just internet 2.0. And the idea that, you know, we don't have the technology to be able to create stuff. You've got you've got your voice, you got your stuff to say. And if it's as simple as shooting a few stories on your phone that's not produced or edited at all, you're already from that 1 or that 3 up to a 5, because you're doing more than what? Make up another dumb stat, you know, 95, maybe 98% of what anybody else is doing, period, especially in this space.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at it, I mean, we're talking a little bit about the whole social media thing and the internet. I mean, you have two groups of people, right? Like, you and I were talking about this, that you have the people that are consuming content and they're there to just like to be entertained, and then you have the people that are creating content, the people that are like that are generating stuff. And so like, if you were to talk to that group of the people that are at a -10, or the people that are at a decimal place, or even up to like a 3, like, what would be the tips or tactics or advice you give to those people, like to be able to get started? Like, what would be the first couple things, or are there any like tools or resources you'd say, okay, here you are, here's video 1.0, like, here's some ideas or some things that you might be able to look at to get started in this?
So much that could be done. And I think that it's not a matter of breadth, right? It's a matter of consistency. You know, so like, for example, let's talk timely right now, you know, so, you know, the shutdowns, the COVID's got us all hanging out in our houses, you know, holed up here with kids running around afoot. And there's more people online consuming information than ever before, right? You got the stats to prove that. I mean, we're even doing it. I'm consuming right now more than ever before. I'm on my socials more than ever before. And so, you know, you could say, wow, what an incredible opportunity for a bunch of attention that you didn't have to pay for. So then it's like, okay, so click. It's like you're building a computer program, like an if-then scenario. Okay, so let's say that's true. Well, then what? So then it's like, all right, well, what do you do with that? Do we talk about real estate markets? Well, yeah, that might be one topic, right? You talk about your new house you got coming on the market and saying how things are still rolling, things are still moving. Yeah, sure. What about the rate environment? Like, all that stuff is on the table. But I think that the real opportunity that's coming up right now is the richness and the abundance of all the different conversations that people are having, right? Like, imagine this is a great opportunity where we're going to come out of this eventually. And we're going to all look back. Everybody's going to look back at this little chunk of time. This is like etched. It's going to be etched into the memory of foreverness, right? The time that the country and the world shut down, right? COVID-19 forever, right? And the difference is that, like, who are we going to be as we emerge from that? And what's our tribe going to look like? What's the strength of our tribe? Did I, like I did in the very beginning of the shutdown, do I go inside? Do I basically hide? Right. And for the first week and a half, Aaron, when the shutdown happened, I hid a little bit, and I wasn't proud of that, man. I was having a whole judgment around this. Like, the person who I see myself as being, like how I think I show up, wasn't showing up. And I started to get like all this judgment around it. And I was like, it was all just real, like, ooh, like real low frequency stuff. Like, what's going on? And it took me a while and a couple conversations with some key friends and some mentors, yourself being included, that I realized I was putting my own oxygen mask on. I was figuring out my own stuff first, right? And then as soon as I had that awareness, it was like, boom, there was the inflection point. And what I moved into was, there's a lot of things going on right now in our life that we've never experienced before. There's a lot of conversations that are having to be had that no one has had to have before. And I thought to myself, what a cool opportunity for me to be a thought leader and just move into that space. Not because I know the answers. I don't know any of the answers. But the truth is, I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people in my circles that probably have specializations in things that they might help us all kind of know the answers a little bit. So I started what I just quickly hacked up and called the COVID series, you know, coping with the COVIDs, you know. And since it was the COVID-19, you know, I did 19 episodes. You know, I'm on episode, I think, 13 right now. And all I'm doing is I'm taking an opportunity. We're all kind of hanging out, right? And I'm thinking of people in my tribe and in my sphere who maybe do have a take, who would have something to say. Like I got ICU nurse. I got a few doctors on. I got people talking about masks and gloves and all that stuff when that was all kind of like going around. Do we do it? Do we not? You know, I got financial people. I even got a CPA guy up there. Like I got all of the conversations that people are having at their dinner table that they don't know the answers to. We've never had to kind of do. I tried to flesh out live. And what I got out of that was my own catharsis. I got my ability to say that I'm willing to go up front. I'm willing to go front stage and do that and put myself out there. I'm connecting with my sphere and tribe, which is what we're supposed to be doing anyway, right? Just in a more meaningful way. And then I'm producing content that actually I can look back on and say, look, man, I did something cool with that opportunity. So it was like the old triple Lindy, right? And all I'm doing is just trying to figure out some stuff and some questions I had for myself. So I'm not saying that that's true for you or it's going to work for anybody else, but just that idea that what's the opportunity that's being created, you know, through the embers of the ashes of what's happening to all of us right now.
Dude, that's super cool. I mean, that whole idea of like taking the COVID situation and then just that, I mean, in the beginning, you're kind of inflecting on yourself to kind of get some clarity and like understanding you're putting that oxygen mask on yourself and then turning that around and then you're saying, okay, now here's a platform that I'm going to leverage, be able to share and connect with my people. And I'm going to use video. And there's got to be like a certain level of comfort when you're on video with other people. Instead of like just being the person that's just like, I'm going to shoot a bunch of stuff and it's just me on the screen the whole time. Like, it's just me here. Like, hey, everybody, it's me. I'm going to share with you like the next couple minutes of content. But it's you like, hey, I'm here. I'm the host. I'm sharing some cool stuff. And this person's going to share some stuff with you. There's like a different level of I don't know. I wouldn't say like it's easier, but it probably like takes some pressure off to a certain extent. I mean, because if it was like, Jesse, you got to do all 19 episodes, all you, the whole thing.
Right.
There's a barrier of entry in that, wouldn't you say?
No, and you're hitting on something too. So where I was kind of going with that was like as a skill set. So like if there's any technicians on this call and they're trying to kind of bolt on stuff, they're like, you know, vulnerability, like go first, right? Like Gabby Reese talks about, like always try to go first. Vulnerability, self-awareness, authenticity, right? I mean, those are like the monetizations of trust, right? So it's like you'll never go wrong with vulnerability, authenticity, right? And then your self-awareness, like know yourself, know how you're being seen to see yourself, like all that stuff. Like just even simple stuff. Like we were having a Zoom call with the team just yesterday and everybody on my squad's pretty video adept. You know, it's kind of just mixed in as medicine with the mashed potatoes in our kind of culture there. And I called out Broker Dave because when he's on the Zoom, he's staring at himself on the Zoom. You know, just like little tiny things like that. Like, don't look at yourself in the Zoom, right? Like, this is not connecting. This is connecting. This is not connecting. This is connecting, right? Just like little tiny technical parts about that. But, you know, I love also the idea and the spirit kind of what you're saying because, man, you know, the talking head thing, like even me right now, like I don't feel comfortable that I'm going on these rants. I'm just trying to get some thoughts out and hoping we can brainstorm on them. But I would 15 times from Sunday rather be engaged in a conversation because that's where the magic comes out, right? The talking head, squawk, squawk, squawk. I'm going to be in story 95% of the time if I'm just talking. But if I'm in a conversation, well, now we're actually insight hunting. And it's the insights that I'm after. It's the things that I didn't know I didn't even know before I walked into that conversation. And then based on something you said, which then spawned something I thought, then I said, then that triggered something. Like those types of things are where the magic is. And I really feel like, you know, if the group gets too big, it can get like very cacophonous, you know, just like, it's like too much, right? But like all by myself, I kind of get lost in story. I think it really loses the mark for good content. But like a one-on-one type thing like this, where there's a good topic at hand, something that the people are passionate about, I think that's where the magic happens. And it's not about who sees it live. It's about the content that you get to record.
Yeah, and like that's the piece, right? I mean, you perform stuff live, but you're creating this wealth of information that people can go back to and check on later on. Because let's get real. I mean, you're going to be referred. You get referred all the time. Like you have like your Yelp page and your Yelp reviews and all your stuff. When you get referred, they're going to like the first thing they're going to look at is they're going to Google search you.
Yeah.
They're like, hey dude, there's this guy named Jesse. He's super cool. He's a rock star realtor in San Diego. You gotta give him a call. And what's the first thing they're going to do before they call you? They're going to type in your name, who is like type in Jesse Ibanez, San Diego real estate,
Yep.
and then what comes up. And
Yep.
and what's cool is if you're creating some of this content, you throw it on YouTube, you throw it on some of these other platforms, and like, I mean, YouTube's owned by Google, right? So I mean, like, you're gonna have like your stuff will come up right in the very top, and then they can click on it. And I think what the key thing is that you're being you on these videos. Like you're like they can connect with you, they can see you. You become like a level of celebrity to the extent that they're like seeing you in a place like, dude, that's cool. Like I kind of feel like I know him a little bit before they actually make the call to reach out.
That's so true. And that goes to the spirit of going first. You know, we use that concept, that Gabby Reese concept, we talked about in a different capacity, but you can flash it forward into this as well. Like your willingness to do video and to have a YouTube page that's out there on the second largest search engine in the world, where somebody can go find you and they can find themselves in the video that they're watching of you, that's you going first. That's you saying, I know that you've got fears and concerns and you're worried about making the wrong decision about who you're going to ally with to sell the house, buy the new one, get some financing in between, whatever. And I'm out here on the front line. Like Brene Brown talks about, you know, like the stand up straight, you got the strong back, but you got the soft front. You know, like that, that's a beautiful architecture for how you want to show up in that self-awareness of throwing yourself out there and going first, right? Like that's a big, big piece because as we said earlier, the currency of today is trust. So it's great that you got a bunch of 5-star reviews. It's not enough. It's great that you got the recommendation from your sisters, family members, coworker. It's not enough. You got to have the triangulation of all these truths for someone to get really excited and come towards you again. Now, this isn't universally true. It's not an absolute, but man, it's getting more and more true as the days go on. You can't, like, you got to have all three. You know, you got to have the recommendation from somebody who they actually trust. You got to be third-party verified once they go and do a little digital dive on you, a little reconnaissance, you know, on all your platforms out there live to the world. You know, and then when you actually do connect, like how are you showing up, and the connection through the videos, and then the connection live. Like, got to have all three, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough. I mean, like, and the thing is, if you look at your market, how many people are really doing that? Right? I mean, like you talk about like how to differentiate yourself from the competition.
Yeah.
There are, I mean, thousands of people have a real estate license, and how many people are actually, would you say, are doing all three of those things?
Well, yeah, right. I think we all know the answer to that. But, you know, I've just paid attention to the fact we've been hanging out now for a little over 20 minutes. I'd like to actually have this be a little bit more Q&A, if you wouldn't mind.
Totally.
If anybody has any questions, they can throw into the chat room. Like, I don't want this just to be you and I thinking, you know, and then we're missing the mark and we're kind of flying over the top of the bow there with what people actually need or thought they might get out of tuning in on this. So anybody can type in any specific questions they might have, or, you know, inspiration they're looking for, or technical stuff, you know, that they want to kind of, you know, get clear on. I know for me, sometimes I'm kind of a technophile, you know, so I hate to admit this almost, you know, because it's like consumerism part of me, but sometimes for me to get excited about something, I got to throw my hat over the deal, like on a purchase, you know, like for example, I just invested in these studio lights. You know, and it's like totally over the top. Like, ain't nobody need no studio lights, you know what I mean? But they're super cool. And what it does is it creates its own little momentum for me to get my studio set up, because I'm doing a new studio at the new office. And it's like the little piece. So sometimes it's like a little purchase or a little download or something, you know, it kind of gets you moving in that direction where providence can ensue. So I'm curious here. Oh, here we go. Melanie's got one. Thank you, Melanie, for chiming in here. How long do you feel a video should be on Facebook Live? Now, this is actually very interesting. So, you know, I don't want to get overcomplicated here. I want to speak to the, you know, the mean three that we were kind of talking about at the top there. But, you know, Facebook Live is changing. It's an algorithm. It's a beast. And, you know, what's more true right now than ever before on the algorithm behind Facebook Live is twofold. Number one, consistency. So if you can do series episodic stuff, where like you can actually say, hey, between 10 a.m. and 10:15 every day this week, I'm going to do 5 episodes on fill in the blank, you know, how to spring clean. I don't know what, whatever your bag is on that, right? Like Facebook loves that, right? The second thing is actual viewership. And I know this is almost impossible to try to do anything about, right? Especially when you're starting out or whatever. But like, when you're Facebook living, like they'll be able to check and see if anybody's watching, and it'll hurt the algorithm a little bit if like no one's watching. So another reason why the series is kind of cool, because it gives it more structure, right? You're like, you kind of shoot that out to your peeps in advance. It could even be a little email blast, or you could even do it right there in the socials, kind of like how Aaron did for this, and you showed up. Like there was a structure, there was a container for a conversation for people to find themselves in. They go on there, boom, there you are, right? So the video, what do they call it? The attention attrition digitally is brutal, right? Like if you don't hook them within the amount of time that the scroll's going up, right, then you got no shot. But if you can keep it under 90 seconds, that's great. Some stuff's obviously going to be a little bit longer, but 10 minutes, it's like, man, you better have some fire that you're spitting for 10 minutes, right? Because that's a big commitment digitally right now. Wouldn't you say, Aaron?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So Heather has a question on a quick intro video for YouTube channel that you can use right away, but she's like, but I'm allowing fear to hold me back. What do you suggest?
What about you, Aaron? Give me your insight on that. I've been doing all the talking here.
Well, you're the special guest. I mean, I think that the hard thing is like, you just got to get something out there, and it's just putting something out. What would be helpful for people is like, what are some of the apps that you use and some of the things that you use to like shoot a quick video? Like instead of going like this huge production route, like what are some ways that you can make it look like cool, but at the same time, like not have to go through this giant video process?
So I admitted earlier, I'm a technophile, right? So, don't get me going on stuff that I've bought and used and all that stuff. But you know what? Here's the thing. I think it's going to land so nice and soft for anybody, is that I actually have simplified, right? So if you can almost kind of think of like that brand arc, it's like you start with nothing. I went and got everything. And what I realized is I don't really need anything. It's like, if you got one of these right here, I mean, I guess if you want to get fancy and you want to get the right angle or whatever, you can get like a little gimbal, like Smooth, or, I mean, you could even just do a selfie stick or whatever, those are kind of falling a little bit out of popularity there, but, but I mean, with the way that the socials work now with the stories, right? I just, it's like, boom, little hitters, little hitters. And there's that raw element, I think, which is so cool. It's like, thank God for that too, right? Because in the early days of video, nobody was thinking about raw. You were thinking about overproduced stuff, right? Like sending something off to some dude who's going to charge you a couple grand for something that might have a shelf life of 6 months, if you're lucky, or it's like, we're in the ephemeral world right now where raw is preferred, which is great because there's literally no video or no production budget for that, right? Just your time and your energy. And then the fact that it's probably not going to have that much of a shelf life anyway. So back to the concept of it needing to be perfect. No, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be public, because the perfection is a joke anyway, because it's probably going to disappear into the ether in a matter of 24 hours, right? So you mean, if you got a really cool piece, you might do something, make it evergreen, put it over on your website, or, who asked about that? Heather, to Heather's point, it can be over on your intro video, but listen, man, dumb it down, and which is easy for me to do because I'm always the dumb guy in any room, but dumb it down, underproduce it. The more raw, the better. That's the truth. The more raw, the better. The more authentic, right? We talked about that self-awareness, vulnerability. The more raw, also, the better. And then I would say, familiarize yourself with the gig economy. And if that's not something that's familiar, it's in your lexicon yet, there's a whole world of little websites out there with creatives that you'll never know, you'll never meet, who do great work and that are completely demonetized, right? Like you can, like, if your example, like for Fiverr, Fiverr, I'm sure a lot of your cats, probably know about that. You can go over to Fiverr with your little video, you can find a cool little editor, and you can say, I will hire you. And for a very cheap amount, literally as low as $5 sometimes, that's why it's called Fiverr, you can have somebody within 24 hours, they shoot it back for you, and they can do all this cool stuff to it. Like if you wanted to do that YouTube intro deal and you wanted it to be evergreen and sit on there for a year or two, they can put little moving text next to your head, and they can do jump cuts, and you could be here and you could be over here and you could be up here, and they can put a little thing behind you, and you know, a little intro and an outro. They can put your logo. Like, you know, if you want to get cute, you can get cute so easily for so cheap. But it's all about the raw, and thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I mean, how cool would an intro video be that you shoot a quick 60-second intro video, just introducing yourself. At the end of that, you have like 3 or 4 blooper reels of like how you messed up, right? It's like, hey everybody, I'm Heather. I just want to introduce myself. And I just want to let you know about this is who I am, and just share a quick little snippet, and like look forward to like meeting and talking to you soon. And then cut, and it goes to like, oh hey, and then like it goes like a quick little like just some funny blooper reels, and people are like, oh, that's super funny. Like that's like they would totally connect with that person. They feel like that's authentic, that's real, and it comes across as like this is not some staged. Now if it's all of a sudden like she's in like a glamorous dress and it's like this like very nice elegant thing, and there's like all this amazing background music, and there's like celebrities walking in behind, you're like, this is probably produced a little bit. I mean, it could be just a normal Friday night at Heather's house. It's probably more produced if it's like high production value. And so,
is that helpful, Heather? Did that help sort of move the needle? If not, please. Thank you. Okay, good. Yeah. So, and if there's anything else, you know, feel free to chime in on that. Jeff's asking, where do we get good content ideas? Jeff, I'm going to be honest, man. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. And one thing that's true for me, and I think it's true for Aaron too, is I'm on the other end of that spectrum, man. So I'm probably not the right guy to ask for that. I've got too many content ideas. That's my challenge. Like if you saw my notes section on my phone, you'd get nauseous. I get nauseous every time I pull it up because like, boom, new idea, boom, new idea. But my challenge is execution. My challenge is creating the time and the space to actually do all those things. And then I also, that part where I suffer a little bit from the perfectionism. Like I still struggle with that, you know, every single time. Like I get a cool idea, I want it to be good, right? And so rather than just like, boom, shoot it, you know, send it and be done with it, right? Which is probably where, you know, 99% of those ideas should go. Like I kind of like I get a little caught up, like, oh, that'd be really cool if I did this, and you know, I did this and I had this and stuff, and then what happens? It doesn't get done, right? So, but Aaron, if you're finding yourself struggling for content stuff, where do you dip into?
Well, I think the hard thing is that I struggle with content stuff when it's time to shoot a video. So it's like, hey, it's time to shoot a video right now. Like, oh man, what should I do that on? So the key thing for me is I have like a note section on my phone that I'm writing down ideas all the time. So I'm like constantly, I picked that up from I went to a joke writing class like a year ago, and they said like you're gonna put the best material in just life. So if you're walking around in life, like just write down. So I'll see funny things. I'm like, oh dude, that was like a funny joke, and I put it in my joke section. I'm like, oh, that'd be so funny. Like so I put that in because if someone's like, hey Aaron, tell us something funny, I'm like, what's something funny? Like I don't know. But I can go like my little list. I'm like, oh dude, there's some funny stuff right here. And so if you look into if you're living real estate and you're doing things in your life and you're like other activities, you're like, and you like hear challenges or things like, oh yeah, that's like or anytime a client asks a question ever, like, oh yeah, that's a question that people don't know the answer to. Okay, write that down. Or what's a question that, oh, that's a question. Sometimes you can even go online and look in like, there are different real estate blogs and real estate websites where people can type in real estate questions, and you have like different consumers will say, hey, what about this? Or what about this? And you're like, oh yeah, that's a thing, or that's a thing, or that's a thing. And you start to write in all these different topics. And so I think the key thing is you start to source topics, and then it's time to shoot a video. Like, okay, which one do I want to pick out of all this stuff? So you're constantly sourcing material, because the challenge that I find is when it's like time to shoot a video, because I'll put this on my schedule, like, okay, I'm going to shoot a video at 2:00 on Thursday. Well, at 1:50 on Thursday, I have no clue what the heck I'm going to talk about in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I go back on my list and look at stuff.
But you know what's funny though is that I came into that thought thinking that I didn't actually have an answer, but in hearing you, I realized that is the answer, and it's actually what both of us do. And I didn't even I hadn't I hadn't realized that was actually my methodology. Is that as I'm going through life, I'm just writing stuff down. So that's actually where I'm getting it sounds like that's where you get your ideas too. So maybe that's the answer to that, Jeff. Let us know if that helps, or if there's a follow-up you'd like for that. So Shane's asking, what platform is the easiest to start with? You know, Shane, my first flinch response is whichever one you're on. right? Like I place effort into being agnostic across all of them, right? Like, I'm on the Instas, I'm on the Facebooks, I'm over on the LinkedIns, I'm on the Pinterests, I'm on the YouTubes, I'm on the Twitters, I'm on all of them. But the truth is that it also kind of means I'm on none of them, right? So, and if I'm putting the same content out there on all those platforms, am I really being honest and germane to the way that each of those platforms communicates and behaves? Probably not, right? So I'm just it's like better than being invisible is just to be visible. So that's kind of like the 1.0. And that's kind of like where I'm at with that, like with the amount of time and energy I'm willing to put into this. But I would say if I had to choose one, the wisdom would be to go with one and go deep. So rather than go shallow and wide, right, as the old metaphor goes, go one and go deep. And for real estate, if someone was going to ask me which one, I would say Instagram. Instagram is, that's the honeypot right now, especially with all the hashtags and stuff that you can use. Like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, being the mayor of your hashtags, like figure out which, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hashtags you want to literally own, so that if anybody happens to put up those hashtags, and because you can search in Instagram by a lot of the social media platforms by hashtag. So, Aaron, what's your help me out, man. You live in Alpine, but where's your headquarter?
Pleasant Grove. So we have another office in Midvale. Yeah. Right.
So if somebody was looking in that area, they'd hashtag Pleasant Grove. Like, you want to come up top. You want to be the one that's got all the content right there for Pleasant Grove. Right. So that's kind of a way to think about that. If I were going to choose one, I'd start with Instagram.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that not really a mistake, but something that like is hard is you try to link everything back to one another. So like if you're trying to like do a YouTube video, you're gonna take the link and put that on Facebook. You're like, okay, I've got a YouTube video. Let me like drive all my traffic back to YouTube. And all the platforms, like they just want to keep their own stuff. They don't want to send people away from their place. So if you're gonna upload a video into YouTube, great. Then you got to upload a video into Facebook. You got to upload a video. So Facebook and Instagram get along well because they're owned by the same entity. But Facebook and YouTube, like they don't want to, like they're not sending stuff back and forth between each other. Like you got to treat.
I just learned that. I learned that literally 6 months ago. I was the guy who was guilty of just putting the YouTube links over on the thing. I didn't get that. That was a new learn for me. New lesson.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's
so
see.
what do we got?
For video, I add it to YouTube and then I load it on Facebook and Instagram. Cool. Oh. Yeah. I mean, you just want to make sure that you're like not linking those. You're treating them all like separately in that space. So I think one of the key things with Facebook, and this is something that I've learned, just listen to a lot of people who do a lot of video stuff, is if you can start to put like subtitles on there, it's a critical thing because so many people are watching. They're watching videos, but they're like reading the videos, not listening to them. So like if you can put some word, and that's you can go like rev.com is a way that you can get like some, or there's other places you can put the subtitles underneath there. But that's a key thing if you start to get into video a little bit more, is start to put some subtitles on there is a critical part.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of fun things you can do with that. Like if you want to get real cute, there is the leverage of what type of content, the medium of the type of content that you're creating. So for example, video is the highest. Why is video the highest? The highest leverage? Because A, you get a video, right? B, you can actually extract the audio, and if you got a podcast or something, you could go throw it out and be an episode for a podcast. C, you can go, like Aaron said, rev.com. You can pull down the transcript. That could be a blog post, right? You could chunk down that blog post and have it be a series of 2 or 3 separate series posts over on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, like one video, and it can create 5 or 6 different things, the content that you can use. And I know that's a little bit maybe 201 there, or maybe even 301, but just as something to think about, where's your time best spent? Definitely video.
Yeah, instead of doing like a video and then have to go do a podcast somewhere else, and then I'm going to do this other thing and then shooting, you can leverage one thing and you can accomplish a lot of different things out of it.
Yeah, good. So we got role play. So Linda's asking, what suggestion do you have for doing the same kind of thing to prep for a video? Oh, I see. Oh, so she's basically saying, hey, we got a video idea. Like we used to role play. That was gonna allow me to kind of prep for it. But like, what do we do now?
And then later on, she says like she suggests to be raw. However, raw and fear like oil and water. Think remedial for us below 3. So, honestly, like everything's always scary before you start to do it, right? I think what happens for a lot of people is the nice thing about video is like you can film some stuff and you can take some takes out of it and you can take multiple takes. But I was at an event on Monday that I thought was really interesting. It was a video guy who was talking about, he was interviewing one of my friends, and this is all on virtual, this is all online. And the video guy was gonna like have this friend, and he's like, so the friend's like, hey, I've got this really cool story. And he started to go into the story, and the video guy cut him off. He's like, nope, stop. He's like, wait, what? He's like, I don't want to hear your story. I don't want to hear it. I want you to give it to me on the film. Like, do it when I'm filming, because it's not going to have the same energy level the second time you tell the story. Like, I want your first version of this. I want the energy level to be, he said, like, the energy level of the story changes the more times you do it. He's like, if I do 2 or 3 takes of you telling the same story, take number 4 is going to be like it's going to be pretty lame. Like, I want the best version up front. So just roll with it with the video rolling. And it was a super cool thing with like the video guy capturing. He just said the energy level is so much better the first time you tell something. And it would be like a comedian like telling a joke. Like if he like tells a joke over and over and over, is it gonna be the same? Like, do they have the same energy level in it? Is it the same thing? And it was an interesting concept of like not putting so much practice into it. Like actually just rolling with it and just like leaning into it and just let's see how it goes, because the energy level will make up for whatever deficiencies you might feel you have.
Well, Linda, I want to build on Aaron's point here. So here's my take on that. And yes, I love, wine always helps, right? So here's what I do. You know, so talk about a hack. Like this is a hack that helps me in a multitude of capacities. Is I'm not passionately motivated. We talked about this earlier about just like having it be me. I don't even really want to hear myself be me, to be fair. Like the magic is this, right? The magic is the fact that Aaron and I had a conversation. So in terms of a 1, right? Even if not even a 3, you said, so in terms of a 1, can you think of one cool conversation that you'd like to have? And then can you think of the number 1 person in your world that you think you would love having it with? So let's just pretend right now that, you know, you've got a sister, whatever, you know, arbitrary, right? So, and your sister wants to talk about how she's growing her own food right now, you know, because of the COVIDs, you know, like they always wanted to grow their own food. They never had whatever, blah, blah, blah. So it's like now they're growing their own food. Cool conversation. Maybe my tribe would like that too. Okay, can I think of a point or 2 that I'd like to add to that? So then, okay, cool. So then call sister up and say, hey, sis, I got this idea. So, hey, you know, you got that new garden you're doing. So would you be willing to just do a quick little video deal with me? And you could do this on the Zooms, right? I don't know if you got the, you know, Zoom is free, by the way, you know, and you could do a 2-person deal there for free for as long as you guys will have each other there. But like, can you shoot for 5 minutes? 5 minutes, right? Like the challenge with shooting for 5 is it's probably going to be in 10, right? So maybe what you do is you shoot for 3 minutes. You shoot for 3 minutes, like you aim for 3 minutes. And then maybe it ends up being 5. Like play with that a little bit, right? Where just the goal is you have a little bit of a pregame, so it's all natural, right? When you're live there, but you've got a goal. Sis knows what to say. She knows what you're gonna do. You guys got a little piece of content. Boom. Anytime there's anything that's ever difficult, get an accountability partner. Get somebody else who can help you through it. It's gonna reduce the anxiety of being raw and the fear that comes up with that. And you know, if you and sis want to have a glass of wine while you do it, well, that's bonus points.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that's some valuable. I mean, like, especially when you have somebody else on camera with you, like it's a good way of like leaning into it. And so Alex talks on here about how she first started. She did Facebook Live on private mode, so if she messed up, no one would even see it. I create a Facebook group that is just me. So if I want to test stuff out and I want to put stuff into like a Facebook group, I want to like see how it plays out. Like I do that. Like I do like some stuff.
I'm on that. I'm actually on that group, Aaron. You didn't know that.
Whatever, dude. If you were on that, I would be paying a ton of money on blackmail money. Like I would
all
like.
I'm gonna say
Oh.
is next time, can you leave your shirt on, please? Okay, the one from the other day was a little cringy.
Cringy? Like I had so many likes. I liked that one so many times. Like why would you say it's cringy? So, all right. So let's see. Moving back in. Let's see. Chelsea, what about just filming and posting later instead of live? Until you know people are hooked and are sure to watch and start off. So, because you do a lot of video stuff that's not live. Like you do some video stuff, Jess, right? Like with like stuff that you do.
Most of it's not live. I mean, the COVID series I did live. When I'm doing a little walkthrough tour, like before we're getting ready to list a house, that's one of the things I do live. It's not like my listing video, right? It's not taking the place of that. It's just kind of like a, hey, gang, always like to keep you guys up to date on some new stuff coming up. Well, here's a new one. I'm sitting here, I'm over in Bankers Hill, cool little Craftsman, right? It's actually updated. Everybody loves these old little 1-car carriage houses. Check it out right here. It's a block over from Finch. You could walk over to your favorite 2 or 3 restaurants when we open back up. And isn't this really cool? This little fountain right here. This is kind of cool, right? It's actually a really cool story around that fountain. It turns out it was actually bought from the dad when he came back from the war. Whatever, right? Like just that little live deal. Like I think there's a time and a place for live. At least that's true for me. But by and far and away, it's fractional compared to just the normal video stuff that you would put up, that you would shoot the video and then you'd put up later. Would you agree with that, Aaron?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, like the vast majority of stuff that I do is video stuff that I can just post later on. So I mean, that gives me a couple takes, and then it gives me a chance to kind of play with it and make sure like it sounds right and make sure it all works out. So I mean, live has its place too, but
yeah. Okay, well, it looks like, so Stephen Pressinger here, he just writes and says, okay, hey, Aaron, I'd like to be invited to that group, and can you please take off your shirt now? That's weird, Stephen.
Yeah, it's too bad we don't have a Stephen in our brokerage. So that's like, obviously, when they talk about Zoom hacks, like that's probably somebody who's hacking in. So
I swear I saw that.
Yeah, it's super weird. That's super weird that you're trolling people in and bringing them into this call right now. So, well,
what's also super weird is the participants just doubled as soon as I said Aaron's taking his shirt off. So
listen,
what are you going to say about that?
That is not going to help like any sort of like client marketing at all. So,
well, this thing's falling off the rails, dude. So, hey, anything else you want to touch on here?
I think this is great stuff. Anybody, any other thoughts or comments? Any other things that would be helpful to talk about? We've got a good crew that's on the call right now. How many of you guys are willing to step into some video stuff? So here's a little challenge. I'm gonna throw this out there for you guys.
Oh, here we go.
You guys ready for this? Here it is. We're gonna have a little challenge over the next week. So until next Wednesday, you guys have a chance to film a 1-minute video. It has to be under 1 minute. And the only props, you can use any props you want in this video. You have to use a roll of toilet paper, and you have to use the concept of 6 feet distancing. That's it. Those are your 2 like thoughts you have to like put into some place in this video. So you have a 1-minute video. Just film a video, and like it can be creative. It can be a romantic comedy. It could be a mystery. It could be whatever you want. It's like 1-minute video. It doesn't have to be real estate related. Just have you can have a 1-minute video, and it involves toilet paper, at least 1 roll of toilet paper, at least some sort of conversation or discussion or something that has to do with 6 feet of distancing. And this will be our COVID challenge, COVID video challenge. And this is how it's going to work. We're going to have everybody who participates, they're all in to a drawing for $50. And then we're going to take all the people who did put it, and we're going to have a vote, and somebody will win $50 as well. So you have a chance of like maybe winning $100 if you win both of them, but everybody's entered in the drawing for $50. And then we'll have one winner who's like the people's choice that we'll share. So this will just be a chance of like stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit. Should be a little bit fun. So who's game for this? Go ahead and type in the comment section if you're in. And if you don't type in, then we'll just type in you're in. So cool. So Jesse's in, Allie's in. Okay, cool. The video, just post in our Facebook group. So when you do your 1-minute video, just post it in there. You've got your video. You don't have to be live. It can be like a recorded video. It just has to involve a roll of toilet paper, and something about 6 feet of distancing. This is your COVID video. Good luck, guys. The game's on. So, and Shane got volunteered in. Heather put him in. So we got Melanie in, Sherry's in, Shane's in, Irina's in, Ben's in, Laurie's in, Jesse's in. Okay, game on. So should be fun.
So Aaron, I'm gonna challenge you as the leader of this group right here that your video has to be a TikTok video.
Oh, are you serious?
That just happened. Aaron's got to do a TikTok, guys.
I think. Oh, man. Thanks for being here, Jess. It's been great.
Aaron's got to do a TikTok.
Oh, man.
Here we go, guys.
It's great. Perfect. All right. Game on. All right. All right, guys. So thanks for joining us today. Jess, any last thoughts you want to share with everybody as we wrap this up?
Yeah, do a video today. Do a video today. I don't care if it stinks. Do a video today. Make it public. Get it up. If you've got an Instagram account or a Facebook account, just get it up there. Do a video today. Just don't think about it. Just do a video today. How many times should I say do a video today, Aaron, before they'll do a video today so we can make sure we can all do a video today? Should we do a video today? I think we should do a video today.
If I do a video today, does that get me off the TikTok thing? Is that how it works?
No.
Okay, that's good to know.
No, your video should be a TikTok today. You need to practice.
Okay. Yeah, it's great. It's all like real estate. It's all about getting uncomfortable, right? Perfect.
Here we go.
Okay, game on.
All right, buddy.
Hey guys, thanks for being on. Thanks, Jess. Thank you so much. Always awesome. Great insights. Thanks for pushing everybody to be a better version of themselves. And thanks a lot for the TikTok challenge. It's great. All right, dude.
Hey, anybody, you're willing to, if you got any questions, you can message me on those same socials. We're, the Greenhouse Group San Diego over on Facebook, and it's _Greenhouse Group on Instagram. Love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, Jesse's a great guy to follow. He's got some cool videos. Like if you want to watch some different ideas, like make sure you follow Jess. He's got some cool stuff. So
cool.
Go on, man.
All right, gang.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, good luck. TikTok.